As fish's seasonal movements change, so do their habitat requirements. Providing structure in your lake or pond to best suit these requirements will result in fewer stressors for your fish, as well as the improved condition and quality of all species. Hey y'all, Ethan Stokes here, fisheries biologist at Pond King. We recently compared age and growth data collected during electrofishing surveys on both managed and unmanaged bodies of water. This comparison yielded that even a small amount of management can have a positive impact on your fish condition and populations. Habitat improvement is one of the most commonly overlooked management techniques in newly built lakes and ponds. However, in order to get the most out of adding artificial or natural habitat to your pond, it is important to understand the fish's life stage and seasonal needs. Starting with spring, this is the season typically associated with the bass spawn in early life stages. Bass often spawn in shallow pockets and flats that are protected from high winds and utilize the hard substrate portions of these locations to fan spawning beds. Hard substrate can be any of pea gravel, rock, sand, or stream bed. The depth at which bass spawn is variable from lake to lake, but as a rule of thumb, in most situations, 2 to 4 foot deep is the norm. If your pond lacks hard substrate types, consider adding artificial spawning disc. These discs come with stakes or weighted brackets and can be installed to create adequate spawning sites in shallow areas. It is recommended to place each individual disc out of sight of the others and as close to level with the substrate as possible. Fry and juvenile largemouth bass utilize dense and complex habitat near spawning areas to best avoid predation and improve recruitment of the species. At these life stages, they have a largely insectivorous diet, which is supported by the same dense complex habitat that is home to many insects. American pondweed, sedges, and rushes are excellent natural nursery habitats, but if this isn't available, the Pond King Nursery or Mega Nursery are great alternatives. Post-spawn, females begin to leave the shallow spawning areas to recuperate in deeper staging areas, while males will remain shallow in order to guard the newly hatched fry. As water temperatures increase going into summer, the fish are left with two choices. They can either stay or migrate to deeper, cooler water while adequate oxygen concentrations are available, or they can utilize the warming shallow water where surface diffusion and aquatic vegetation can replenish oxygen quicker. Natural vegetation and wind are crucial factors to consider to support shallow fish throughout the summer. Through photosynthesis and surface diffusion, they help to combat low dissolved oxygen concentrations that are associated with the increased water temperature. This will help to reduce the environmental stress felt by your fish. Managed portions of aquatic vegetation or hard structures such as trees and shrubs placed in wind-blown areas are great forms of shallow summer habitat. Further habitat complexity can be increased by the implementation of hard structures within aquatic vegetation to increase ambush locations consistent with the feeding style of largemouth bass. When creating deepwater habitat, it is important to consider the thermocline if your lake is deep enough. While we have another video that goes into greater detail about thermocline, it is important to understand the gist of how it influences your fish locations. The thermocline is the middle layer of a stratified lake where water temperature decreases more rapidly with depth than the layers above or below. The thermocline is the buffer zone between the hotter surface water and the lake's colder bottom layers. As water warms, the oxygen concentration it is able to support decreases. The cooler water found in or near the thermocline can support a higher oxygen concentration and offers a less stressful environment for fish. It is also known to support a greater density of zooplankton during the day, which is the main food source for many prey species. Creating habitat that extends to different depths is vital because it provides ample ambush locations throughout different zones within the water column. This is important as the thermocline does not always form at the same depth. Large brush or rock piles are great habitat ideas, as is the Pond King canopy, which was specifically designed for deeper water. In the fall transition, as water temperatures begin to cool and nutrient availability offshore decreases, forage fish begin to push back shallow. Predators such as largemouth bass are quick to follow as they begin to feed up for winter. To accommodate the fall transition, consider placing habitat on the deeper outside edge of flats and pockets. This allows your bass to ambush forage species as they're moving shallow and as they're trying to pull back out to open water in late fall. A row of trees or a congregation of shrubs are both valid forms of fall habitats. Remember, we also recommend these habitats for spring too, as fish begin to stage up during the pre-spawn. As water temperatures begin to drop further, fish transition out to their winter habitats. Habitat conducive to wintering fish often radiate some form of heat into the water. Standing timber, trees, or stumps that extend above water, and rock banks or concrete retaining walls are great examples. Many of these locations are often associated with summer habitat as well. As you can see, fish utilize different habitat through different life stages and different seasons. Although their needs might change from life stage to life stage or season to season, By providing habitat at a variety of depths throughout your lake or pond, your fish will be pretty well covered throughout the year. If you have any questions or ideas for future videos, please leave a comment down below. If you found this information helpful, you can use the button below to subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see y'all down the pond.